How long have you been coaching and how long you've been with the Oahu League?
I've been coaching in Oahu League for maybe the last 7 or 8 years. But previous to that, I'd coached in other places, and as a youth player, I also coached a little bit, helped with some younger teams when I was playing. So, I've been coaching for a little bit, but in the league, it's only been around 7 or 8 years.
Do you think coaching when you were younger helped you, become the coach you are today?
I think there's a lot of stuff that I learned as a player. There's a lot of stuff that I learned to coach when I was maybe 16, 17 years old. A lot of fundamentals when I was working with really young kids, under 10 years old. So I think that's stuff that I still do today. And I think that that's a part of coaching that I think is really, really important, right? Just the basics and the fundamentals.
What team or teams are you currently coaching right now?
I have 06 and 07 girls at Rush,
Okay.
9th and 8th grade.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah.
Do you do anything else for the league other than coaching?
I sit on the board,
Okay.
and then I also I coach some ODP teams, which is not really a league thing, but it's still under HISO. So I'm involved with a couple of different programs.
How did you start coaching? I know you said a little bit how you started coaching when you're a player with other league teams. What kind of drew you to coaching?
Well, it's just something that I've always kind of done, even
Mm-hmm.
as a youth player. Like I said, I mean, I used to do footwork sessions for the little kids and in the club when I was a player, and then as I got involved with other programs and started playing college soccer, we used to do clinics. When I was playing after college, I used to do some coaching on the side as well. So it's just something that I've kind of always been involved with at some level. So I'm not sure if I was like really drawn to coaching. I'm just drawn to soccer, and that was just kind of the next natural progression of where the game took me.
What is your favorite part about being a coach?
I think that for me, I really just like seeing players get challenged, and sometimes that challenge comes from me, and sometimes that challenge comes from the game or the opponent. And I like to see players overcome some of those difficulties. One of the things that I really like about sports is that sports isn't you don't enjoy sports or have fun with sports the same way you would enjoy like a roller coaster. It's something that part of the fun of sports is the challenge and the difficulty that gets presented in front of you, right? So helping players understand that frustration, anger, and joy, they're all part of the game, right? And how do you deal with that frustration is really important in terms of how do you progress as a player. So I think that's probably my favorite part about coaching, other than just like the nuts and bolts of it and the technical side and tactics and things like that. I think I enjoy that part of it the most.
What do you do to make yourself a better coach? Do you take coaching courses? Do you read some coaching books?
I've done a little bit of all that, but I think the thing that has made the biggest impact on me as a coach is just having good mentors that I could listen to and talk to. Some of them here, and some of them, out of state or even out of the country. So I think that that's probably had the biggest impact, is I've been able to be around a lot of coaches while I was a player, and then also as I've started getting more into coaching teams, having people around to guide me is more important than any book that I've read or um, any course. I've taken some courses as well. Traveled outside of the country to learn a little bit more about coaching, but I found that just um, having conversations with other coaches has been the biggest impact on me. And then also I think just my own personal views about how the game should be played and how I see the game. I always try to stay true to how I think the game should be played. So, you know, I think those two things are the biggest impact, is my own personal views and taking, having conversations with other coaches that I respect.
What would your advice be to someone who would like to start coaching but doesn't know where to start?
I think that, like I said, I think coaches should have people that they trust and that they think, that they respect, to bounce ideas off of. And I think that one of the best things a coach can do is just steal stuff from other coaches. I think that's a really, and not try to put your own personal spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just take what other coaches that are doing, take other exercises that coaches are doing that are successful, and just implement them. I don't think there's a ton of, especially when you're talking about kids,
Mm-hmm.
with young kids, you don't have to reinvent anything. The stuff the stuff that works for someone else is going to work for you. So I would say find a good mentor that you respect, or that you that has had some success with coaching, and just steal other stuff.
So what would your advice be to a player you see struggling?
I think that it depends on what the struggle is, right? I mean, I think every player is struggling, and I think that's interesting about sports, is that it doesn't matter what level. Like if you're a brand new player and you're struggling with just the fundamentals of the game, then my advice would be different than the kid that is on the region team and is having a problem trying to get into the national pool, right? Like totally different situation. So I think the cool thing about sports is everybody has their own issues, and if a player is struggling with technique, it would be basically spend more time on the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm having conversations with players that are in the national pool right now, that I'm telling them, maybe you got to think about changing your position. So it's different advice for different players, and and just try different things. I would always say to try to tackle the problem and try to solve the problem on your own. But it would really depend, right? It would depend on what the struggle is.
What has been your proudest moment as a coach so far?
I just, with soccer coaching, I just like being on the field every day. So I don't really have one big moment that I would say, but I just like seeing players progress and tackle challenges. So to me, the best story recently is I actually told one of the players, we're entering U14, our U14 year, and we had a ton of, several good players join our team. So I approached one of the players on the team and I said, I don't know if you're going to be on the top team anymore, which is not an easy conversation to have with, a 13-year-old, right?
Yeah.
But I try to be honest with them and tell them where they stand on the team. So I said, I don't think you're going to be on the top team anymore. You got to kind of prove yourself. So the next 2 weeks she came to practice and just, competed and fought hard and did really well and responded really well to that challenge. And she did such a good job that I made her the team captain.
Oh, wow.
And she's still the team captain today. Because for me, I always thought, like, the way that she responded to that challenge, she didn't complain about it. She didn't say, she just responded in such a positive way that it was a good example for the rest of the team. And I said, that's what I would want in somebody to be a team captain, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that those type of things are, it's not easy sometimes to have those type of difficult conversations with a player, and especially a player that you care about. But I think being honest with them and telling them where they stand is really important, and it allows them to have a positive response like that. So I'm more proud of her response than, that wasn't really like a coaching moment. It was more like, here's a challenge and she found a way to overcome it. And I think that I'm more proud of her instead of the coaching moment, if you know what I'm saying.